We've all been asked at some point in our life, especially when we are in our adolescence, what we want to be when we grow up. The typical answer when we are younger is something like an astronaut, a firefighter, or as the kids nowadays say, a YouTuber. However, as we grow older and the time comes for us to make that decision, it can be extremely difficult to find the answer. So, many of us are left asking ourselves, what should I do with my life? This is a question that almost everyone faces, and although not everyone comes to answer the question, many have, and we can learn lessons from their experience of how they approach answering it. I'm Seth. This is Acquired Salary, the best living through career mastery. In today's short talk, I'm going to guide us through the process of how to answer what to do with your life. Stick around to the end of the video for an evidence-based technique that facilitates coming to the best answer. Rather than have you take my word for it and give you the process without any context, I want to start by giving you the lay of the land and understanding why this question is so difficult to answer in the first place. Regardless of your age, the stakes of this question are high. It is your life we're talking about, after all. There are many ways to go, and the best path is not clairvoyant. If you delay answering this question until you are older, it becomes easier to answer because certain doors of opportunity close over time. However, if you are young and you find yourself trying to answer this question, it is seemingly impossible. This is because you are faced with the paradox of choice. The truth of the matter is, there are so many options that would result in you living a reasonably happy life, and there is no way to collect the data that will make it cut and dry indicating which choice is the best option. Inherently, this helps us identify the worst way to answer the question. The worst way being to sit around and try and think your way out of the problem. This is playing mental chess. You can play out hundreds or thousands of hypothetical paths, which may seem like a great way to solve the problem and find your answer. However, there are many reasons as to why this is a flawed approach. First off, this would be the equivalent of trying to play a game of chess, predicting every move to the end game while you have not even made your opener. It is absolutely true that evolutionarily speaking, we develop the ability to critically think so that our ideas may die or fail in our imagination instead of in reality. However, this does not help us answer the question. Looking at it from the application of the scientific method, the answer to the question is equivalent to our hypothesis. However, this is not a problem where we can identify and isolate all of the variables. If we do not fully understand the system with which we are trying to manipulate, then the hypothesis we form and the changes we make are bound to have unintentional consequences. The second reason that trying to think your way to a solution won't work is because we are under the impression that we know who we are. Yes, you likely know who you are, but oftentimes, when people play the game of mental chess, they play the game based off of who they think they are now and or who they think they are or would like to be in the future. This is all well and great except for the fact that almost everyone inaccurately predicts the amount of change that we will observe in the future. The only thing constant is change, and it is true that as we age, the rate of change we see declines over time. That said, it declines far slower than we predict. The data shows the average 18-year-old predicts their values will change as much as an actual 50-year-old's values are changing. This is the end of history illusion. The graph on the screen is showing the change in personality or personal values, but similar discrepancies are found in the 5 fundamental personality traits as well as personal preferences. All this goes to explain why people change careers after 10 years of working in industry. Tying this back to the scientific method and formulation of a hypothesis, this further demonstrates it is not possible to create a hypothesis that will last a lifetime. This is a dynamic system, and the underlying assumptions of the original hypothesis will be different in the future, which changes the outcome. Putting this back in terms of the game of chess, the game will not play out anywhere close to how we are predicting it, as it only takes one unpredicted move, unpredicted change by the opponent to invalidate all of the planning resulting in a wasted effort. Now, before I go on any further, if you're liking what you're hearing, I'd be so grateful if you liked the video and subscribe to the channel. I know this would make you an early adopter, but just think ahead 3 years when the channel's grown, you'll be able to say you were one of the first supporters. In addition to that, the support like this helps to grow Acquired Salary's reach so we can continue to give you free tools, information, and perspectives you need to build the life you want. Chess is an interesting analogy because there are many studies on grandmasters, and the truth is, they do not think ahead significantly more than the average player. Most only think 2 or 3 moves in advance. They are differentiated by the fact that they can identify blunders quickly and reliably, which reduces the number of potential moves for them to choose from. They also identify patterns quickly with less information, making recall of previously consolidated move sequences easier. They can do both because they have performed the repetitions through playing so many games. Luckily, this is similar and applicable to life. In order to become the grandmaster of your life, you must avoid the worst approach to finding the answer to what you should do with it. As we just thoroughly covered the worst approach, we can now look to doing the opposite and applying some nuance to find a tenable process to finding an answer. The tenable process to finding an answer comes through action with reflection, rather than imagination and prediction. It is important to note that embracing a growth mindset is extremely important to this process, given we are now aware of the end of history illusion. Tying this back to the hypothesis formulation, although it won't be possible to understand the system in its entirety, that does not mean you do not find value in collecting data. If anything, this is in line with becoming a grandmaster in life. You have to make moves to create data, and it is only after you have the data that you can analyze it to determine if the moves that you made were good or bad. When you start analyzing the data, it is important to first focus on identifying and eliminating bad moves. As Robert Kiyosaki says, when it comes to building wealth, it's not about how much money you make, but how much money you keep. This essentially means the highest leverage opportunity at this point in time for you would be to avoid making as many bad decisions as possible. I cannot define what a good move or a bad move is for you, but there are a few helpful tips in conceptualizing what a bad move is. At this point, it's important to use what you have at your disposal. It is similar to defining what you want to do with your life, but it is a fair bit easier to define the direction or place in life that you want to stay the hell away from. This is because negative emotions are 5 times more poignant than positive emotions, so it takes less introspection to identify what evokes those negative emotions. As I say this, I don't recommend building out a super detailed picture of what you want to stay away from. Keep it high level. This is because if you have at least a high level idea of where you do not want to end up, then you can use your emotions to help guide you. Negative emotions are going to indicate the move was bad. It moved you either farther away from your goal or towards a place that you want to stay away from. Tactically speaking, you can apply this by auditing your time. If you have a highly organized calendar, it's quite easy to perform, as you can note it directly on your calendar. Otherwise, it may be worth entering this data into a journal or somewhere that you can come back to reference. What you want to do is take a look at your day and the tasks you have done and how they made you feel. This process is best applied to your work day, so it can help you to determine the tasks that help drive fulfillment or enjoyment, so you can conceptualize what a dream job would look like. A dream job is still going to be a job, so there will be tasks that you feel neutral towards, but the goal is to identify the tasks that evoke negative emotion or move you in a direction that you do not want to go. As you identify the good, neutral, and bad tasks of your day, you can start to form an idea of which skills and competencies to develop that move you in a more positive direction. If you decide to audit your time outside of work, there is additional nuance to the situation, as you need to delineate the hedonistic pleasures versus the tasks that bring positive emotion when considering a long-term outlook like 5 years into the future. By understanding and following this process, you can start to take action and become more intentional with your actions. Don't expect perfection. You may end up making a bad decision here and there. But now that you're able to identify what a bad decision is so you can course correct, you should course correct. No need to fall victim to the sunk cost fallacy. In most cases, as you experiment, you will be able to find neutral actions and positive actions. This means you'll be able to more easily make small adjustments that you need to your heading to ensure that you're ending up closer and closer to where you eventually want to be. After making thousands of decisions and adjusting and applying this process over years, you will finally be able to take a second, look back, and answer the question of what you should do with your life. Remember, your path in life is the one under your feet, so your path in life is only revealed by walking it. What do you think? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. If the concepts in this video make sense to you, but they're too abstract or you need help with the specific application, join the Acquired Salary community using the first link in the description, and we can schedule a consultation to go over how to apply these concepts to your specific situation. Until next time.